Hi, Liz.
Hi, Janae.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Where are you joining us from this morning? I see some really nice,
Um,
like different shades of
oh,
green.
yes. This is my dining room table. So this is our dining room, and that's
Okay, is that
behind
for
us.
quarantine? Is that acting as your office right now?
No, my office, it was in the beginning. And then when things kept going on forever, we set up a more permanent
Official.
in our like front room, which is
Okay.
it's right next to the kids' playroom, so I can keep an eye on them better and got all of my junk off of the dining room table because we like eat dinner here and stuff. So.
Beautiful. So you actually eat at your dining room table.
Yeah, after we had like a table in our kitchen, and then after we had Emmett and he started eating with us, there's not enough room for all four of us, so we had to move
Okay.
to the
Very nice.
meat
I
table.
think having a separate work area is really important. So that way, being stuck in your house, you still feel like you get to go to different areas of your house and enjoy them differently. So that's kind of
Yeah.
nice.
So
And
Matt
I
has
know
his
there
own
were
little office, and I have my own little office. So
very good. I know there were a few Bellum people too who were setting up their workstation in the kitchen, and then they were having a lot of trouble with every time they wanted a distraction, like going and eating.
yeah,
So the further away from the kitchen, the better.
yeah, yeah.
All right, so I like to start with a quote, and you were so kind to send me one before we started. So I'm just going to read it and then we'll chat. So your quote, it comes from the Bible. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to him, and he will make your path straight. Proverbs 3, 5, 6. So tell us a little bit about what that means to you, Liz.
So that really kind of became it's like one of my go-to Bible verses that I tell myself, and that really became like a staple to me in college. When we would be like in the library studying, my friends are pulling all-nighters, and like my sleep is really valuable to me. It's always has been.
Amen.
I was the person to pull all-nighters in college and stuff, and I'd hit my point and I would like just go back to my, and people would be like, how can you leave? How can you not be studying more? And it was like, that was the quote that like weighed on me, that like, trust in the Lord, lean not on your own understanding. It was, I had felt like I had done all that I could do, and he was guiding me in that. And it's kind of carried through to everything in my life, whenever it's, right now with quarantine and everything
Yeah,
that's going on and chaotic, I can't change anything. I just need to trust that God is guiding my path
I
and
love that.
best for me and my family. And it's,
I love that. I love that even though it's believing in a higher power, the way that you're interpreting it is that you're believing in yourself first and foremost because
mhm.
of that guidance that you have.
Yeah.
But I like the way that you're interpreting that, like that you do know what's best. You know it's best to not pull an all-nighter and to go
Hmm.
home, and you know that you've done your part, whether it's
Yeah.
studying or being a mom or work, whatever it is that you've kind of given your best effort.
Yeah.
And that's a topic that has been really important to me throughout this quarantine, is that especially now, like best effort looks a little bit different.
Hmm.
I'm sure your old standards of what you expected are now hopefully different. They should be different because things are different. So
Hmm.
how have your expectations in terms of mothering and being a wife and still working, like how have they evolved?
Um, it's honestly, I don't know that much has changed. The biggest thing is that we have to change. We've had to change. We also are eternally working on our house. It's
Mhm.
always a construction zone, so we've had to like shift on like what our projects we're working on are, because we can't necessarily be running all the errands and everything that we need to do. So we've had to take a lot of shifts there. Um, I'm just trying to focus a lot more on being intentional with my time with the kids. Um, we usually, like, Zoe goes to school and gets a lot of her learning there, and so we've had to make sure we're doing stuff with her to keep that going here. We aren't physically going to church on Sundays, but we're still doing our own little like worship time here, and we're making sure to include a time for Zoe, almost like she were at Sunday school and her junior time that she would have at church. So making sure we're being a lot more intentional with what we're doing with the kids.
Yeah, I think that's one blessing in all of this, is that we are kind of forced to look at how we usually spend our time and reevaluate how we can be a little more intentional with it. So if anything good comes of this, I think that is one of them, because I don't think we're going to allow things to kind of go back to how they were.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be a new kind of different, and hopefully a better way of living.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of Zoe, my favorite little human, I have a very different version of the story than Liz. But Liz was pregnant with Zoe and still working out, and she was working out all the way up until her due date. And I kept saying, Liz, you better not go into labor here. Like you better not do it. I cannot deal with baby stuff. Like I don't know what to do. And she kept ensuring me that does not happen. Like her water is not going to break here. She's not going to go into labor here. And
my water wouldn't break there. I said the baby wouldn't be born there.
Okay, same difference. There were baby fluids happening, and I don't know how to deal with baby fluids, okay? So here goes Liz, warming up, goes into the bathroom, comes out, looks at all of us, and I freaking knew it. I knew the look on her face. Comes out and says, something just happened. And I'm like, oh no, what is coming next? And she goes, I think my water broke. And Matt just looking around like, okay. And Liz is looking around like, okay. And then says, what should we do? And I'm like, big idea. Go ahead, go, get to going. And like I think Matt literally pondered like, can I finish the workout or, is this serious? So they left, and that will forever be my version of Zoe was almost born at Bellum, even though it was just Liz's water breaking. But Liz, you've went through many pregnancies, not many, two. I'm a little dramatic. But your whole time at Bellum has essentially been pregnancies and mothering. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So we had joined Bellum, and 3 months later, pretty much, I got pregnant. And so we had a kind of history of CrossFit. We had never officially been doing CrossFit at a CrossFit gym, but we had been doing like our own kind of version at home. I'd always been active and everything. So that wasn't anything of a concern for me, but we were still kind of getting to learn Bellum a little bit and the coaches. And I came in and was like, oh, hey, I'm pregnant now. And it was really interesting because I was still in those beginning stages of learning a little bit more about weightlifting and increasing numbers and stuff like that. And at the same time, progressing my pregnancy. So that first pregnancy was really different because I was still hitting PRs because they were things I just hadn't done before. Anyway, went through my whole pregnancy. One of my memories that will always stick in my head is being at the gym on my due date. And I think it was only Matt and I, and you were coaching, and Ann was doing the workout. And it had like rope climbs, and I was doing ring rows. And that was the night Matt got his first rope climb that night.
That's awesome.
And I just remember you and Ann freaking out that I was working out on my due date. And and I kept saying, worst thing that happens is my water breaks, and we do the same thing we would do if I were anywhere else. And it took 24 hours from my water breaking to Zoe actually arriving. So it wasn't.
So we had plenty of time. It wasn't like she was going to be born in the bathroom. I get it.
And it was very convenient. So what ended up happening was the day I was scheduled, I was going to be induced. I had to go to the hospital that night, a week after my due date. We were going to the hospital that night to be induced. And so I said, well, Matt, let's go to the 3 p.m. class. You can get one last workout in.
Let's just go for it.
I wasn't planning on stretching.
I was Janae a little stressed, no big deal.
And it was in the warm-up stretching. I did an inchworm, and I stood up, and I thought, that felt weird. And I went to the bathroom, and I was like, no, there's nothing more. And then I was washing my hands. I was like, no, that's more.
Yep.
And we left. But it was very comforting because that class was filled with EMT workers and other moms already.
Responders, moms. We had it all.
Gave us some advice on our way out. We were fine.
I'm pretty sure someone told you, like, go eat all of the food right now.
Yeah, go eat and go take a shower. I did not take the eating advice. We'll always that because once you get checked in and you're inactive and like in labor, you can't eat anything. So it was 24 hours before I could eat anything again.
Oh my gosh. That sounds like the hardest part of labor.
So had a baby.
No big deal.
we went into postpartum, and was at that point kind of just winging it because I hadn't done too much, and probably jumped into things a little faster than I should have. Thankfully, it didn't cause any issues for me, but looking back, I can tell myself I was stupid. Um, and
we
then
all learned a lot from your
we all learned a lot
pregnancy and Zoe and all of it.
Yeah. And Zoe was just the easiest kid. She would just come around with us. We would kept up our going to the gym like normal. She would sleep in the stroller. She would.
I know. I have a picture of either you or Matt, I don't remember, Zoe in one of those like little baby carriers, like doing ring rows with her there.
Yeah.
And I think that's something so interesting.
That was like one workout I can think of where she was like really cranky, and I put her there to like do a workout with her. But for the most part, she was just chill.
Yeah, just always sitting. And I think that's like so interesting with all of the women who train throughout their entire pregnancy. I mean, we've had like, I don't know, close to 15 pregnancies, I would say. You, I guess, being our first, right?
Kelly Reed and I.
Okay, Kelly Reed.
At the same time.
So it's so interesting that all of the babies are just so calm, and there has to be some connection to working out. And
well, we can continue, and I get pregnant again.
And then
Emmett comes along, and that pregnancy, that hit me a lot harder, I think. We had already changed up as Zoe got older, and she is eating real food. Like, it was easy in the beginning. She's just having bottles, and she could have those at Bellum and whatever. But as she started eating more real food, and we wanted to have family dinner time and things like that, we started changing things up. That's when we really like kind of built our home gym so we could keep things going, but be able to kind of do it more on our own schedule.
Yeah.
Bellum as much as we could, but just having to scale back how much we can interact at Bellum. But the best part is that we keep doing Bellum's programming. So we're still interacting on Sugar WOD, which I think helps us that we still have that like leaderboard bit of competition.
Absolutely. That accountability too, where I can like look and see if you and Matt are logging or if you're not, and be like, hey, where are the youngs?
Yeah. So Emmett's pregnancy definitely hit me like a little harder. I think just because, things were a little bit more chaotic having one kid at home now, and then everything like that. So I just remember like opting out a lot more in the beginning, not getting out in the garage in the evening and stuff as often, but for the most part, sticking with it fairly consistently.
Yeah.
And then again, my babies like to stay inside of me for a long time. Did due date Murph, because my due date was on Memorial Day.
Yeah, almost gave Kelly a heart attack, Coach Kelly.
Matt and I were talking about that because we're preparing to get ready to do Murph again, and how I walked a half a mile. I split all of the reps with Kelly Sullivan, and we did ring rows and box push-ups and air squats, and then we walked a half a mile. It was the least intense Murph.
And luckily we've learned so much through our preparation and studying about pregnancy and what's appropriate, not appropriate, and we're able to definitely make those decisions this time around. It's definitely
I feel like during pregnancy last time with Zoe, we had a pretty good idea. We were cutting it. We were watching for the coning and things like that, and so, I do feel like I had to scale things back a lot sooner with my second pregnancy, and then it's just a matter of
which is normal,
being a second pregnancy or just it being a different pregnancy. Who knows? But, so then a week later, a whole week past my due date, had Emmett. Took the full 6 weeks off this time. Last time I went back at 4 weeks. Janae held me back when I came back too. Didn't let me use any like momentum or anything.
Everything was strict and tempo. Everything was as slow as you could do it to make sure you were actually feeling the right muscles working, which is something we neglected the first postpartum.
Yeah. So we eased back into it a lot better. And it was also, Emmett is a completely different child than Zoe. It was even I took a long maternity leave with Emmett. I was home almost 7 months with him. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to be home so much longer. We can go to the gym all the time. But it was just like, his like sleeping schedules were like a struggle for me. And it was always like trying to find time to get in where he would be awake. And it was just this like, he would wake up, we would go. By the time class was ending, it was like he was ready for his next nap. He spent almost all of the classes I went to pretty much screaming his head off or needing to be held by a coach. So I'm so grateful for all of the coaches at the gym who love the babies and will carry them around so you can get a workout in.
We love our Bellum babes.
He's not the calm, chill child of Zoe. And now I keep thinking about how like much of a bummer it is that like he's not getting any exposure to even coming with us on like Saturday mornings and Tuesday nights are our family night. Right. That's when the kids are there with us and they like get to see it all. And he just like, he doesn't get any of that exposure now. And now that he's like definitely becoming more aware of things like that. So things took a turn for him once he started eating and I could give him food while we work out. And so now pretty good.
I know. I always joke that Liz's kids are going to think that you go to the gym to eat when they get older because Zoe is just always there with her perfectly portioned little like carb, protein, veggies, and just sits there and eats. So when they get older, I think they're going to be like, what do we do at the gym? Like, do we go?
Because we like Matt and I both work full time or like 9 to 5 traditional jobs. It's the evening classes and the Saturday morning classes that are the ones that we can get to. So
Well, you are a huge inspiration to many people who like, I'm just trying to survive, get myself to work out, no kids. And here you are with 2 kids. You guys both work, dogs, family, church, all of it. And you still make it a priority. And you really, I think the routines and schedules and kind of you have that set in place to make it work for you. So that has been, I'm sure, a big part of making it work is having the structure and the routines.
Yeah. And that's what like how quarantine, it's just like our routines are slightly different now, but it's still pretty much, we have the same.
So it seems like quarantine is going pretty smoothly because of the fact that you already had structures in place and now you're just kind of altering them a little bit.
Yeah, for the most part, it's like we have our like schedule. So I'm also very grateful when I went back to work after Emmett, I went back on a part-time schedule. Okay. So I have to get in 24 hours of work a week. I normally work 3 days and I'm sticking to my 3 days of work. I could have like spread it out to be shorter days over all 5 days, but I like having that kind of extra time off to spend with the kids. So absolutely sticking with 3 days and to get in 8 hours of work, Matt and I are both basically starting at 5:30 in the morning and I go until 4, which is when the kids wake up from their naps. And then like from then on it's dinner and everything. So I'm going from 5:30 to 4 and with breaks for breakfast and getting everyone up and then a break for lunch. And we always go for a walk at lunchtime. So with those breaks, it brings me to an 8-hour day going from 5:30 to 4. So it's a little crazy, but
you are amazing. Like I don't even have words. Like that's just like awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And we've been putting the kids to bed and both going out in the garage to work out, which Matt used to always get up in the morning and work out in the garage in the morning. And then I would do evenings after the kids went to bed. And since he's starting to work on actual work in the morning, we started doing it together in the evening and it's been working out pretty well. We might keep it up after quarantine is over.
Absolutely. You'll figure out new things that work for you that you didn't try before and it works.
Although I will say that it's like convenient. Like I am terrible about getting out to the garage to work out in the winter time because it's so cold.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
I remember those days of not having heat at Bellum and blow drying the bars so they weren't too cold to touch. So I feel you on that one.
Matt lights a propane heater in the garage and he brought out a carbon monoxide detector so he can make sure he doesn't kill himself. He's offering to light it for me and I'm like, no, I'm okay.
Oh my God, the things we do for CrossFit.
No.
So clearly you guys are diehard CrossFitters that you would put a carbon monoxide detector in your garage to make sure you don't kill yourself while doing CrossFit, all in the name of CrossFit. So who is your favorite CrossFitter that you'd like the world to know about?
Oh, I love Cara. Cara Saunders, formerly Cara Webb, now Cara Saunders.
Yeah.
Um,
So she
and I've always
really
liked her. I've always liked her. And then she, shortly after the 2018 games, got announced she was pregnant. She got pregnant like what? Probably like a couple weeks after the games.
Yeah.
And so she was pregnant and it was all lined up. I think she had her baby like a couple weeks before I had Emmett. Like we were at the same stage. So it was just neat to be able to follow along with her. She was doing the open and posting all about her scaling options. And I followed a number of pregnant CrossFitters, and she is the one that I think best followed scaling options like appropriately and advocated for pregnant athletes the best. So I'm out there doing a lot of questionable things. So I think she did an awesome job of that. Okay, go tell daddy.
Hi, Zoe. My little Zoe bird.
So and then watching her, she posts about her kid and everything like that. So it's fun to just follow along and see. So yeah,
that's awesome. It's nice to have that role model.
So
yeah. So in terms of following CrossFit, you know, we have some people that really don't know the history of CrossFit or really know much about CrossFit, and that's fine too. But is there anything you would suggest the person who wants to know a little bit more of like how to get into CrossFit, or any blogs or Instagrams that you follow, or, you know, just anything?
Yeah, so it's like all on Instagram and YouTube these days. And the like Matt and I still mostly love the like original kind of core group, you know, Rich Froning, Dan Bailey, Cara Saunders is pretty. She's been around for a while now. Those are probably our top three. I don't know. Matt follows like way more.
A lot.
I do, and I'm sure there are others. But Matt Frazier, obviously. Oh, and Tia.
Oh yeah.
Best. So
she's awesome.
For good vlogs, like YouTube vlogs to look at. Matt's turned me on to Team Richie.
Oh yeah, you did tell me about that.
Team Richie, because they're great and they have really great interactions and like interviews with a lot of athletes too. So
okay, so that's a good one for people to see and learn about different athletes because they're interviewing different athletes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, Team Richie.
They travel around to a bunch of different like competitions and everything and do all that stuff. The Buttery Bros are also good. They're a little bit out there and intense. Probably not the best starter one, but I think Team Richie is a good starter one.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. All right. So CrossFit, along with CrossFit.
Also on Netflix, I think The Fittest is there's a couple CrossFit documentaries on Netflix.
There are a few CrossFit documentaries on Netflix that hopefully by this point, maybe I need to make that homework for our Bellum.
Yeah, there's a new one on the last Dubai championship.
Yeah, I didn't see that yet. Was it good?
Yeah, I did fall asleep halfway through, but it was a Sunday afternoon. So
okay, I mean Sunday afternoons. What else do you do on a Sunday afternoon?
That's nap day
during quarantine. So, what has been your guiltiest pleasure of quarantine?
I mean, I've just been baking a lot. Matt and I both had birthdays, so we had like cake and stuff hanging around, and it was just like as soon as like quarantine happened, I like went right to all right, what are we gonna bake? I've tapered off a little bit, but now I just got a new oven. So was
that your birthday present?
Technically no, but it could be considered that. I think Matt considers it that.
You're like, no, this is not my birthday present.
Yeah, our old oven had been on the verge for a while, but like it came with the house. It was probably from like the 70s, and it was a glorious
oven. That lasted a long time.
It lasted so long, and it was like
they don't make things like they used to.
They don't make things like that, and that's the thing. I was like, I want to see how long this could go.
Yeah.
And great temperature. It's awesome.
It's like a relic.
And then the other day I was making something and it had a very strong gas smell. So we were like, okay, it's time. And then I had to buy an oven without being able to like go into a store and see it. I just had to pick it out online, but it worked out. We like it. But now I have to, it's like that weekend I made some cookies because I had to christen it. And it like bakes totally differently. So I gotta.
Oh yeah. I'm sure everything bakes a lot quicker. And
it was actually slower. I think because my old oven was so old, it ran really hot. It had like you couldn't touch that oven when it was on.
You almost died crossfitting in the garage. You're almost dying when you're cooking and baking. I mean, you guys are. Did you ever see the movie The Money Pit?
No.
Great movie. But that's what I'm thinking of, because how you said you're always in a perpetual state of like doing a project at your house.
Oh yeah. This
Yeah.
house is I mean, you could look at that lovely wood trim over the door that is partially done.
Thank you for your honesty,
There's
Dorothy.
a giant crack in the wall over that way that this wall is gonna like fall down any day now.
Well, good thing there's 2 engineers in the house, so
Yeah. So and
hopefully you guys
that's the
can on
thing.
that.
We do it all ourselves. So it's just eternal.
Well, it sounds like you guys are rocking quarantine.
We're doing okay.
And I really miss you, and I miss Zoe and Emmett, and I hope that you guys are, just keep doing what you're doing, and I can't wait to see you guys in person and hug you. I know you're not a hugger, but I'm gonna give you all the hugs.
There's gonna be so much hugging with
It's
this.
good. It's gonna be bad. There's gonna be probably a peak here at Bellum from all the hugging.
But there's probably gonna be a time when like we can all see each other again, but you still can't hug and touch each other. What do you?
Don't you say that. Don't play with my emotions like that.
Out with masks on?
I'm a little concerned because I'm not sure if you saw this, but a woman in New Jersey crashed her car because she is driving with an N95 mask on. So
people are
working out with them might not be the best of ideas.
There's people going around Cooper River running and biking with them on all the time.
We will figure it out, and hopefully it's sooner than later. So yeah. I hope I see you guys in person soon. What does the rest of your day look like?
I'm gonna go back to work now. Today's my birthday. So
all right.
Well,
thank you for taking a little break to talk to me. And I didn't say this, but Liz helped me name the show. So that was one of the reasons I needed to get her on as a guest.
You need maybe Bobby G needs to make you like a theme song.
Oh, love it. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I will let you know how that goes. All right, Liz. Have a good day.
Bye.